Hello my dear friends, welcome back to your channel. In this video, I am going to explain an impressive opening called Scandinavian Defense. Believe me, with this opening, you can crush any opponent and increase your ratings perfectly in a short time. This fantastic opening is used while your opponent is playing the pawn into e4, as it is the most common way that majority of white players they are playing the e4. So without wasting the time, let's get started the game. In this position, if your opponent starts the game by pushing the pawn into e4, as you know that majority of chess players, almost 70 to 80% players, they are starting their game by pushing the pawn into e4. In this position, my dear friends, you have different options to play. You can play the Sicilian defense, or you can play the King Indian defense, and many more games you will have. Also, you have the French defense, Karukan defense in the next move pushing the pawn. So in different ways, you can play against the e4. But in this video, I'm going to show you a Scandinavian defense. And this one is also very fantastic. So watch the video till to end and enjoy from this fantastic opening and use it in your daily games. So in this position, my dear friends, to the response of e4, you just simply push the pawn into d5. You are attacking to the center pawn of your opponent. So in here, your opponent has different options. But in case if your opponent captures the pawn, as majority of the chess players in the beginning, they are capturing the pawn. Why? Because they don't want to lose the tempo. And here, you have this option to capture it back by your queen. But in the next move, your opponent jumps the knight and taking priority in tempo. So in this position, you just activate your knight by taking your knight into f6. Now you are attacking to the center pawn. When you are attacking to the center pawn of your opponent has different options to play. Some of the players, they are pushing the pawn and defending from their pawn, and some players, they are taking the knight. But advanced players, they are pushing the pawn into d4, and this is one of the base moves, and we are going to calculate this line. Especially, I will explain the other lines as well, but in here we are going to start from the best moves and best reaction of your opponents. But in this position, you just simply capture the pawn by your knight. Now your opponent is pushing the pawn into c4, and the reason behind this move is to have full control in the center by his pawn. But in here, you are not taking back your knight because you are losing a tempo. And instead of that, you are surprising your opponent by taking your knight into b4. When you are taking your knight into b4, you are weakening one of your square that your opponent can use it from that. And in this way, you are allowing your opponent to give me a check. And definitely, your opponent is using from this opportunity and giving a fantastic check to you. And here, somehow, your opponent is thinking that you lost your knight. For example, if you take it back, so he has the idea to push the pawn. But in here, you just activate another knight and cover the check. Now your opponent cannot capture your knight. But what is especially your opponent is doing? Brilliant. Your opponent is pushing the pawn into d5. And he is thinking somehow he can capture one of your knights, as you cannot move your knight because it is pinned and your king is under attack. So in this position, my dear friends, can you find the best move for black? So I'm repeating this because you should know the lines perfectly. If you miss any chance, you will lose the game, as it is in a very critical position. So my dear friends, the best move in here is pushing the pawn into b5, attacking to your opponent's queen. In this position, your opponent has two options to capture this pawn. The first one is by his pawn and the second one is by his queen. So in here, I'm going to explain both, but first let's go with queen. If your opponents capture the pawn, and here your opponent weaken his position, and you can give this brilliant check by your knight and attacking to your opponent's rook. And you know that the reaction of your opponent is taking his king into d1. So now, my dear friends, you are attacking to the rook, but you should not in hurry to capture the rook. There is a very famous quote in chess. If you see a good move, look for better one. So in here, you have to wait and attack to your opponent. So my dear friends, can you find what is the best move in here for black? Is it good idea to capture the rook? No, my dear friends, it is not a good idea. Instead of that, you can simply activate your bishop into d7. Looking very fantastic, but believe me, it has a very fantastic and hidden technique on that. And here, your opponent cannot capture your knight because you have this brilliant fork check and attacking to the king and queen of your opponent. Definitely, you will win the game. This is one idea. And the other idea, what happens if your opponents capture the knight? If your opponents capture your knight, and here again, you should not be in hurry to capture the pawn. Instead of that, you have this brilliant double check by your bishop and by your queen. You know, my dear friends, in double check, there is no chance to cover it. So your opponent has to move. So definitely he will capture your knight. Now a brilliant check is coming by your queen. When you are giving this check, so your opponent has only one square to go, and he is moving his king into c3. You are capturing the bishop and giving another check. For example, if your opponent decides to escape, you have this brilliant check by your rook, and you will checkmate your opponent in any way. But the best move in here, maybe your opponent is going to escape from your hand. So he is taking his king into b3. Now another check is coming by your bishop. So you are giving this another fantastic check. And your opponent has to move. And he is taking his king into a3. Another brilliant move is coming. And that is pushing the pawn into e5 and giving this brilliant check by your bishop. So when you are giving this check, your opponent can't move anywhere because it is all controlled by your bishops. And also your opponent can't push the pawn because it is pinned by your queen. So instead, what will do your opponent? Maybe he has to sacrifice his queen. And also he has one another move, and that is pushing the pawn into c5. And it doesn't work because you are capturing this pawn by your bishop and giving again the same check. And here your opponent has only one option, and that is sacrificing his queen. So he is capturing your bishop, and now you are capturing back with your queen and giving a brilliant check. Now your opponent can push the pawn into b4 and defend from checkmate. But you have controlled all these squares by your bishop. So my dear friends, can you find checkmate in only one move? So please pause the video and find checkmate in only one move. Yeah, it is very easy. You have this fantastic check by your queen and mate. So see my dear friends, your opponents can escape anywhere as you locked all the squares by your bishop and by your queen. So my dear friends, coming back to this position. In this position, your opponent is choosing the second option, and that is capturing your pawn by his pawn. In this position, you should keep in mind that you have this brilliant move, and that is taking your knight into d4. Now, my dear friends, your opponent cannot capture your knight because you have this brilliant fork and attacking to your opponent's king and queen. So therefore, your opponent is calculating all the lines. So he is taking his knight into a3 just because of this square. Okay. And from other hand, your opponent is attacking to your knight. So because of defending your knight, you have another good move, and that is pushing your pawn into e5. Now your opponent cannot capture your knight, and the reason behind pushing the pawn is to defend from your knight by your bishop. In this position, your opponent wants to develop his pieces and also attacking to your knight. As you placed your knights in a very good squares, so it is a big threatening to your opponent. So your opponent is taking his bishop into d2 and attacking to your knight by 2 force. So my dear friends, some players they are defending the knight by taking his queen. This is not a good idea. The best move in this situation is capturing the pawn by your queen. Somehow in this position, your opponent is thinking that now we have got a free piece. So therefore, your opponent is capturing your knight. But you should be very positive in this position. You should not be in hurry to capture the bishop because your opponent can capture it back by his queen. So the best move in this position is giving a fantastic check by your queen. So in this position, your opponent cannot cover this check by his bishop because he is losing the pawn, and also you are attacking to your opponent's rook as well. So the best and logical move for your opponent is covering this check by his knight. Now this is the time for you to capture the bishop and give a brilliant check to your opponent. So definitely your opponent is capturing your bishop. But now another great move is coming for you, and that is giving a check by your knight. So in this position, whatever your opponent does, so definitely you are capturing the queen and giving another check. So your opponent, for example, if he make a mistake, so now you are capturing another pawn. So these three pieces is under attack. So therefore, you can win the game easily. So thank you so much, my dear friends, for watching this fantastic video. I hope you enjoyed from watching this video. If you like the videos and the contents that I am making, please subscribe the channel, share it with your friends and family members. In the next video, I am going to explain all the important lines that you should know in Scandinavian defense. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.